right here.
Hi, I'm David Stiernholm and this is a structure tutorial.
Jag får ofta frågan vad som är de vanligaste strukturproblemen folk brottas med. Och de senaste 15 åren nu så har jag rest land och rike runt och talat med människor om hur vi kan förenkla våra arbetsdagar. Så jag möter ju en hel del människor som har lite svårt för det här ordet struktur. De tänker att det är lite väl fyrkantigt.
I do my best writing to the sound combo rain, thunder and storm.
Om jag ska bli strukturerad så måste jag liksom tränga in mig i en väldigt trång ram och inte få arbeta utanför den på något sätt. På listan skriver du saker som du väntar på från andra och sånt som folk har lovat att komma tillbaka till dig. Jag tog med mig en ram hit idag för att illustrera detta. You could use the red flags in your email for this.
Hannah asks, how can I work focused while in an open office environment?
And there we go. Welcome to this live episode, David Stiernholm.
Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm David Stiernholm and I'm a structör. Do you know what a structör does?
I think I have an idea, but I think it would be good to explain it a little bit.
Well, of course. So I give talks about structure at work, how to simplify our workdays by enhancing structure. I give talks and I write books as well. So, and this is a topic that I've explored for the last 16 years now. So I basically spend my days traveling around and visiting companies and organizations and giving talks about how to get more things done in less time and how to prioritize correctly and to find the information that you need when you need them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's something that affects both in the business world, but also like individuals in their spare time and stuff.
Yes, definitely. Of course, we all have plenty of things to do at work and at home, but my focus is, of course, on when we are working rather than than in our free time.
Right.
But most things are applicable also when we are free, of course.
So, how come you started working as a structör?
I needed structure.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was 18 or 19 years ago when I had a job when I had a job that was quite complicated. I had different roles in this company that I worked in, and I am very forgetful and I'm easily distracted. So I needed structure, and I needed structure, and I still need structure, of course. I mean, all the things that I talk about and all the tips and tricks that I share with others are tips and tricks that I myself have used for every day, both at work and at home, of course. So let's say 17 or 18 years ago, perhaps, I began exploring this topic for myself, for my own good, and I found tools and methods and tricks that really helped me. And as the years passed, I realized that I wasn't alone, but we are many people who obviously benefit from having good structure at work. So since 16 years back, I've worked with sharing what I've found and what I still find, of course.
Nice. And now it's a little bit of a special situation with this
to say the least.
Coronavirus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people like working from home right now,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of it's like a domino effect with both the health and the business. So
Yeah.
how has this affect your work?
Well, it affects my work quite a bit, of course, because I spend most of my days giving talks, and now I give talks, of course, but virtually from here, from my office where I'm at right now. So I spend my days at my office instead of with my clients. So it's quite a change, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, structure is something we can talk about from a distance as well. So
Yeah. So to jump into your area,
yeah.
your niche. So what are like the most common questions that you get about structure?
Well, people they ask me to help them when they feel that everything is just too much. They have too much to do. They feel stressed. They lack overview of what you have of what they have to do, so they feel overwhelmed. That's often the reason that they contact me, and then they need to find some way to get a more steady grip on the situation, so that they can sleep better and work more focused and not be so distracted. So it is often stress that's the reason that they contact me. Yeah.
So what would you say is the most common mistakes that that you see business have?
Well, people that I help, the most common mistake is that they try to keep track of what they have to do in numerous different places. They spread out notes of what they have to do. I mean, we write paper notes, of course, on sticky notes and other kinds of notes. We flag emails or mark emails as unread, even if we've read them. We use an app and another app, and we use plenty of apps and other ways to try to keep track of what we have to do. So the first thing that I always recommend people to do is to choose what place to keep track of what they have to do. And preferably as few places as possible, preferably one single place, one single app or one single notepad, or just decide where to keep track, so that they have one place to choose from when they need to choose what's the next thing to do right now.
So what's
sorry?
Yeah, what's the like tool or the way that you are collecting that into one place?
Well, you need to choose the tool that suits you. It could be a digital tool, or it could be an analog tool, of course. Some people want to use pen and paper to keep track, and that is okay if you use it systematically, of course. But I mean, most people choose some kind of app. There are plenty of apps for this, of course, and people do have services or tools that they don't use. I mean, the most people that I help, they use Outlook for emailing, of course, and for the calendar and for contacts. And but far too few have discovered the tasks function in Outlook, and the new Microsoft To Do feature or service that comes with Office 365. I mean, both the tasks function in Outlook and Microsoft To Do is excellent choices for keeping track of what you have to do, I think.
Is that both for PC and Mac?
Yes, To Do is available for PC and for Mac, and but of course, if you're not working on the Office 365 platform, there are alternatives. The best non-Microsoft tool for keeping track of what we have to do, I think, or for keeping your to-do list is, in my opinion, Todoist. I think Todoist is an excellent tool. Have you heard about Todoist?
Yeah, Todoist is actually the one that I'm using.
Yeah. So why do you like it?
I like it because I can tag the tasks in different priorities and sort them that way. And I've also have integration with both Toggle, so that I can start tracking the time on it directly from Toggle, and also synchronized with Google Calendar, so it automatically shows up there.
Yeah.
So for me, it's important with those integration. That's really is really helping me.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
So do you do it like physically, or do you have an app?
No, I have an app. I'm a Mac user. So when I switched to Mac from Windows in 2010, I chose to work with an app called Things. It's a to-do list app in Mac, and I think it is good enough. And it's not perfect in any way, but it has most things that I wish a to-do list app had. I think it lacks integrations. I would like it to have more integrations. I would like it to be more integrated with Zapier. I use Zapier a lot. Do you use Zapier?
No, but I recognize the name. I haven't.
Yeah,
tried
Zapier is an automation service where you can. Zapier connects. I think it's more than 1,500 other services with each other, and I use it a lot for automating my menial tasks, the small tasks that I don't want to spend time on. And there is some integration with Zapier, but it could be better. But Things is quite okay. It's very reliable, and that's a big plus, of course.
Do you want to dig deeper into how you're using it with your email, like you mentioned?
Sorry, if you...
how you're using the... how you connect your email, the tasks from there?
Well, when it comes to email, I process email when I feel like it, when it suits me and when it suits my schedule. The emails that I receive, I take care of immediately when I'm checking email. If there's something that I need to do that I don't do immediately, I create a task from the email that is easily done in Things. And after having created the task, I archive the email. Emails that I don't need to do anything with but still keep, I archive immediately. Emails that I don't need at all, I trash, of course. And some emails they are the first email of some kind of project or some kind of assignment, and then I create a new project in Things, because I keep all my projects and all my tasks in Things.
Right. So do you have like subtasks for every bigger project that you're working on?
Yeah, exactly. So I connect every task to the respective project in Things. And my email inbox is empty at least once a week.
Right. Is there like a limit for what emails you take care of directly? If it takes longer than 5 minutes, you create a task or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah. So do you have any specific tools that you mentioned Todoist and tasks? Was it tasks?
Things.
Things, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Any other tools that you would recommend that you think is working well?
Yes, people who use Office 365, I think they should check out To-Do and Planner. Planner is also integrated in Teams. If they use Teams, probably you have worked with Planner, even if you don't know it, that you have done it. With Planner, you can create a Kanban board and you can plan some kind of collaboration or a project of the easier kind or of the smaller kind. So To-Do and Planner is excellent in Office 365, as well as the automation service that is built in to Office 365 that's called Power Automate. It was recently renamed to Power Automate. Before it was named Flow, I think. And Zapier, I mentioned Zapier earlier. And right now I am actually fascinated and inspired by a Mac tool that I use that's called Keyboard Maestro. Keyboard Maestro, because with this Keyboard Maestro I can automate small tasks within my computer, small tasks that I would otherwise get done by clicking and typing and selecting and pasting, all those small things. We can Keyboard Maestro can automate all that. It is a Mac service, or rather a Mac app, but there is an alternative for Windows called Auto Hotkey. That does basically the same thing.
Right. And do you have like a limit on how long a task could be? Or can some tasks be like 4 hours and some 5 minutes? Or if it's like a bigger task, do you break it down into smaller ones?
Yeah. Well, my tasks are either 5-minute tasks or 15-minute tasks or 30 minutes or 60 minutes. I seldom create tasks that are longer than 60 minutes. Some tasks could perhaps be 4 hours, but then I need to have 4 consecutive hours blocked so that I work uninterrupted with this task for 4 hours. Because when I switch task, I want to be able to check off the task that I have been working on. And another mistake that people make is that they create too large tasks so that they seldom get to tick off the tasks. So my rule of thumb is that every task should be shorter than a workday in duration, so that we get to tick off many tasks each day, because it feels great to tick off a task. So we want to tick off a task, or tick off plenty of tasks every day. So we need to have time for plenty of tasks every day. And we will have time for plenty of tasks every day if we define them so small that they are shorter than a workday each.
Yeah, I can really confirm that from my side and how I'm working. Like when I'm working a lot with video editing, and it can take a lot of time.
I guess so.
And sometimes there is like tasks that is 8 hours or 4 hours, but like a couple of weeks ago I started to break them down into 90-minute tasks. And even if it's like a 3-hour task, I break it into 2, and then I work 90 minutes and then take a 10-minute break and then work 90 minutes. So not longer than that. And I've seen that also, it's both the mental part that you're talking about, like you can check off that you're done with something. But also I feel like it's easier to have the focus, because after a certain amount of time, I don't feel like I have the same, I'm not thinking as fast and taking good decisions as fast. So
you get tired.
Just get up and like go into the kitchen and go back, or get coffee or whatever.
Just a short break.
Do you have any tips there that you regularly do, like when you're taking a break? Or
well, these days when I'm working from my office, and at the moment I'm developing web courses or online courses, so I spend quite a few hours editing video and writing scripts and so on. And then I benefit from working from using the Pomodoro method. Do you know the Pomodoro method? It's a well-known method, which means that you work 25 minutes and then you take 5 minutes break, and then you work 25 minutes and then 5 minutes break, and so on. And that really helps me to not work too long, because I can really lose myself in working with an interesting task, and suddenly 2 hours have gone by, and I feel more tired than I had expected. So I mean, I need to remind myself to take a break, especially when I'm working on the interesting tasks such as developing web courses.
Yeah, I tried that before, like working 25 minutes. I thought for me personally it felt a little bit short because I just came into focus and then I had to like interrupt myself, take a break. But 90 minutes works pretty well for me. But yeah, it's also not just the focus part, but also like getting on the right track. I can feel like when I'm sit too long with something, I can like dig into details that not maybe matter that much for the bigger picture. So then I take a break and then I come back and I see like, oh, now I spend too much time on this little thing. Maybe I should focus more on this.
Okay, so the break makes you reconnect with the larger picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's a good effect that I've seen for my own tasks.
You get new perspectives on what you're working on.
So
great.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. With there is so much to say about this. And do you have like, I have an app for habits, and I try to like keep them separated, tasks and habits. So do you have
that's wise.
any special system for habits specifically?
Yeah, I use Strides. There's an app called Strides. Do you use that too?
Me too.
Yeah, I think it works fine, I think. Yeah. So from time to time, at the moment, I don't think I track any new habits. Perhaps I don't have any new habits to establish, or I don't need to track them to establish them because I am so motivated nonetheless. But from time to time, I use it quite a lot, every day, at least once, to track, to remind myself, or rather to track any new habits that I want to establish.
Is there
and I think it works really well.
Is there anything that, is it only business related or is it anything else?
Mostly things that relates to my private life.
Oh, right.
You know, running and physical training and things that you maybe don't feel like every day.
Yeah, that's something I also track, both like the number of hours I sleep every night and when I practice, and also like reading, like book reading. I try to get in like 10 pages every day of reading. So, but I feel for me sometimes I'm maybe taking it too far. I'm like adding too many habits, and then I feel like, oh, I don't have time for my tasks because I'm just doing habits all the time.
Okay.
But I think if it's good habits, it's not really a problem. And also, like if you prioritize the tasks first, if there is important tasks, and then try to like sneak in the habits on like shorter periods during the day. At least that's something that I've tried now recently, just to get the right prioritization
between tasks and habits.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think it's hard also because like you have habits for a reason. Also, you want to like achieve something long term, or you want to maintain something. So sometimes it's hard to make that prioritization also. Do you feel that as well?
I haven't noticed a conflict between habits and tasks per se, but maybe that's because the tasks that I want to maybe it's because the habits that I want to establish are habits that are related to my private life, and then there will be things that I want to do in the morning and in the evening. So I mean, they are naturally separated from my work, so maybe that's why. I haven't thought about it, but
Right.
I think that's why. Because most of my tasks are work-related. That's definitely so.
Right. And you,
Yeah.
is it
And
like...
my habits and my private, the things that I need to do in my private life are more are more formed like habits, I think.
And is it like time-based? Do you have a specific time during the day when you are doing these habits, or is it like when I have time, I do this?
No, it's more time-based.
Right.
Or I like to create routines to follow myself. Self-chosen routines I enjoy following, but I don't want anyone else to define routines for me to follow. But self-defined routines I really enjoy following. So I connect the habits that I want to establish to the routine that I already follow. Such as, I mean, I have a routine I do basically the same thing every morning. So if I do want to establish a new habit, I connect it to my morning routine. I mean, to what I do in the morning between waking up and leaving for work. So.
Right. That's something that I've read about also, like how you can establish a new habit by connecting it to something that you already have.
Yeah.
I feel like...
I think James Clear writes about that in Tiny Habits. I think.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the reasons when I can't maintain a habit, because it's not really connected to anything. It's just there for me when I have time. But if it's not like scheduled, then I sometimes forget it. But you have written a couple of books about this.
Yes, 3.
Yeah, 3 books. So what can you tell us about those books?
Well, the first book I published in 2012, and it is also published in English, titled Superstructured: How to Overcome Chaos and Win Back Time. It's a training program in 31 steps in establishing and enhancing structure at work through 3 stages. The first stage is called Organize. The second stage is called Focus, and the third, Automate. So that's a training program. It is published in Norwegian and Swedish and English and Chinese, actually. And my second book is about prioritization, because I realized or noticed that after I had written the first book, that many people that I met had a hard time prioritizing between tasks. They had too much to do, and they did the urgent tasks first, always the urgent tasks. They had all heard that you need to separate the important from the urgent, but far too few have defined why something is important. So I wrote a book about that. About, okay, so if we have too much to do and we need to prioritize, how should we prioritize? What tool or what method or what tool could I use for prioritizing correctly when things are just too much? So that's the second book. And the third book that I published in April last year is about simplifying things, simplifying all the hassles that you experience on an average day at work. All the things that you think are too difficult or too cumbersome or stressful or frustrating. So in that book, in the third book, I share plenty of very specific tips and tricks and tools and methods on for solving all the hassles that people that I meet face on an everyday basis. It is tricks about email and about workload and being stressed and being rushed and keeping deadlines and working focused without being distracted and so on. And also in the second half of this book, I also share my method, or it's not my method per se, but I mean it's a method that is well known, but or that is existing but not well known enough, I think, for simplifying all the things that you feel should be much more simpler or easier to get done at work. So this trio of books is a great way to, I think it covers most aspects of structure that I have explored during these 16 years.
So the last book, is that available in both Swedish and English?
No, in Swedish only now, yeah.
Right. But how is that for the Swedish viewers now? How is that like structured, that book? How do you structure a book about structure?
How do I structure a book about structure? Well, I mean, the 3 books that I mentioned, they are structured in 3 different ways. The first book is a training program in 31 steps, so that's 31 distinct steps. The second book is a concrete cure, a short and brief and concrete cure for prioritizing more systematically and more correctly and more what do you say, methodically? Oh, never mind. I think
I don't know.
And the third book is divided in 2 parts. One part that consists all the tips and all the specific tips and tricks, and the second part in which I share this method that we can use for the things that I don't cover in the first part of the book. But it is, I mean, it's always something that you need to figure out when you're writing a book, how to structure the book. It's not that easy. It is quite hard, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's kind of similar to when making a movie. In one way, you have to have a beginning to like catch the attention of the viewers, and then have some kind of structure throughout it, and then an end to like summarize. And yeah,
writing books that's hard work.
How long did it take to write this?
A year, about a year each.
Right. It's so much more work than people think, I think.
Every morning between 5 and 6 for a year.
Right.
That's how I wrote the last book, and the second as well.
So early bird then.
Early bird.
Yeah.
And then I tracked the habit in strides, of course. For every 60 minutes that I've written, I tracked it.
Would you say you're a morning person?
I have become a morning person. I wasn't before, but the older I get, the more morning person I get, I think.
Right.
I become.
I've heard that like when you try to do something where you need a lot of creativity, and when you try to take in new information, you should do it like in the morning when your brain is kind of reset after the night.
Okay.
So I try to do my reading in the morning.
You do?
Yeah, to make it like stick more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like during the day there is so much impressions coming from everywhere, and then if I try to read them, then it's like more stuff, and then I'm like fighting for the attention in the brain.
Okay. Does it work, do you think?
I think it works better than reading in the afternoon, because I feel like I can focus on it more. But one thing that I see, if I check my phone the first thing in the morning and like scroll through social media and do that first and then read, then that affects. The best thing is just to take up the book directly.
Yeah.
But you said the first book, that was in English.
Yeah, Superstructured, How to Overcome Chaos and Win Back Time.
Right. And people can find that on your website, I guess?
Yeah, on Amazon.
Cool.
It's available as an ebook as well as a regular book.
Nice. So I'm going to put some links in the video description after this so people can find it.
Excellent.
So before we finish this live episode, I have some final questions. So what is one thing that you are looking forward to right now?
Well, obviously, I look forward to this virus craze to be over. I think it's stressful in a way, and it's boring. It makes our lives more boring. We can't travel. I like to travel.
Yeah. What are if we should see something positive from it? We talked about, I think before this live, that maybe work more on internal processes and stuff, or put time on stuff that you don't usually have time for. What are some?
Yeah, that's a positive thing. Of course it is. I can more now than usually focus on developing new content and new services for my clients. So that's a good thing, of course.
And to jump quickly to the next question, if you could eat dinner with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would that be?
Well, I gave this some thought, and I have decided to invite the French author Georges Perec to dinner. Do you know Georges Perec? No? He is one of my favorite authors. He seems very eccentric. He wrote one of my favorite books called Life, a User's Manual. And it's a quite thick book, as a user's manual for life should be, I guess. But it covers 1 second in a French apartment building. So the entire book is about 1 second in this apartment building in Paris. I mean, that's just beautiful, I think. Yeah. He also, I mean, he's French, and he wrote in, he's dead now, but he wrote, of course, in French. And one of his books, I don't know the title right now, but it's a novel, and he wrote it without using the letter E at all.
Interesting.
An entire book in French without using the letter E.
Yeah.
I mean, experiments like that is just, I love those experiments like that. So I would love to have him, to eat dinner with him, of course.
That certainly sounds like someone pushing the boundaries and try to stay creative by limiting something.
Yeah, and we could talk about structure in different ways, I think.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What is the one thing that is underrated in the world?
I've just begun to practice playing banjo. I haven't played banjo before, but suddenly one Sunday in January, I was interested in banjo. I mean, that's how it works for me. Suddenly I get interested by something, and I don't know why or what will be my next interest. But this Sunday in January, suddenly I couldn't think of anything else than banjo. So I bought a banjo, and since then I practice banjo. And the sound of a well-tuned banjo is definitely underrated in this world, I think. I mean, the twang that you get from a banjo is just beautiful. So more banjo to the people.
Yeah, cool. If you would give a shout out to a person right now, who would that be and why?
Yeah, well, about a year ago, I began creating videos on my own. And I knew nothing about videos or video production or video editing. But I found Peter McKinnon on YouTube, and I think that you know Peter McKinnon as well. I mean, he's so generous when it comes to sharing his knowledge, and he makes so many tutorials. So everything that I know about video, I've learned from Peter McKinnon. So a shout out to Peter McKinnon. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and making my life so much more interesting and wonderful, because I just love creating videos. And I know what I do, what I know because of you.
I understand that. I love that as well. And I've also followed Peter McKinnon for a while, and it's interesting because like in the beginning there was a lot because of the content he's creating and what I've learned, but now, like after following him for so long, it kind of feels like I know him because he's so personal in his way of delivering stuff. So now I sometimes just look at it to like, it feels like hanging out with someone more.
That's a skill.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that I really appreciate about certain YouTubers, when they can like get their personality to shine through, so they have actually something that connects with the viewer, and not just the knowledge that they are sharing, but actually the personality behind it. So yeah, so he's a great that's a great channel for everyone that hasn't checked it out. So next question, do you have a goal for the next year, so the next 365 days?
Yeah, definitely. I'm at the moment developing online courses or web courses for within structure as a topic, of course. And I would like to, in a year from now, that is the 19th of March 2021, is it?
Yep.
I would like to have published 5 online courses on the topic of structure.
So
that's my...
Like 5 more from now?
5 more from now, yeah.
Right. That's quite high ambition, I would say.
Is it?
It sounds high.
We'll see in a year. We will see in a year.
Yeah. But that's great. But just by looking at your videos on both on YouTube but on social media, there's a lot of knowledge that you're sharing. So definitely a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. And finally, is there anything that we can help you with? And I say we, and I mean both me and the people watching this. Maybe there is like something that you want people to share or check out, or maybe you're searching for help in any area right now.
Yes, absolutely. 2 things then. I really enjoy creating these videos that I'm creating on a weekly basis. So if people would like to check out my YouTube channel, where I share short videos in English och på svenska with concrete tips and tricks that helps us simplify our work days, that would be great. And subscribe while you're there, of course. And also, since I'm so focused on creating web courses and online courses, if you have some experiences or tips or tricks when it comes to creating online courses, I'm always curious to hear those. So I would be grateful if you would just email me that and tell me about what you would want me to know about online course creation.
Cool. So what's your email if they want to contact you?
David@stiernholm.com. David@stiernholm.com.
That's easy to remember.
It is easy.
Cool. So yeah, thank you so much for joining this live episode.
Thank you for having me.
And I will look through more of your content, because when I did this introduction video, it was kind of hard, because instead of getting the videos and edit it, I started like watching through them because it was interesting topics. And then I was like, oh no, I need to get back to my task now and edit this. So
great.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and thanks for everyone that has been watching today. I hope to see you in the next live episode as well. Have a great day.